or you can plot yourself with any software or Excel. And now there are 6 graphs. Each graph has got a purpose. The first graph is bar chart. The second graph is R chart. We already mastered it. And the third chart is X bar chart. And the fourth one is called the dot plot, right? Along with the line drawn. And then the fifth one is box plot. The sixth one is called, again, it is a dot plot only, but we are going to call it interaction plot because it helps us to understand the interaction. And now the broader way, the first graph gives a broader picture of the variation. How many types of variation we are trying to understand? Part-to-part variation. What is part-to-part variation? Process variation. This is your focus. You want to reduce the process variation, right? Part-to-part variation, and then variation due to repeatability, and then variation due to reproducibility. So you get a broader picture, which is dominating. When you say there is a project opportunity, can somebody tell me which variation should dominate? Is it part-to-part variation?
Part-to-part.
Part-to-part. If part-to-part variation dominates, that's a project opportunity. If measurement variation dominates or repeatability or reproducibility dominates, that is not a project. The measurement is not done correctly. They don't know how to measure. There is no problem at all in the company. Problem is with the way they are measuring, right? So it gives a broader picture of the source of variation. The second one helps you to check the repeatability of the appraiser. There are 10 appraisers you are involving, or there are 3 appraisers you are involving. Are they individually repeatable? Are they individually consistent? See, the precision doesn't answer the question whether you are correct or wrong. Precision only answer the question whether you are consistent or not, right? Whether I am teaching the right way or not. Am I teaching the same way? That is what precision is measuring, right? And then the third one is X bar chart. It checks the ability of the measurement system to differentiate between good and bad. Suppose you are writing an exam, you want to get assessed correctly or you want to get assessed wrongly also. How many of you will agree? Those who write well should score well, isn't it? Those who write bad should get failed. Whether that is happening in your measurement system or not, whether differentiation is done properly or not. If I say someone as the topper, the best student, and who writes very badly in the exam, if I place him as number 1, how many of you will like? That means the measurement system is bad, and that is what your X bar chart will find out. And then this chart will check the dot plot, will check the part-wise reproducibility. Part number 1 is that all of you are measuring the same way. Are you measuring the correct way? Accuracy will answer. But are you measuring the same way? The gauge R&R will answer. And here box plot. The box plot checks the overall reproducibility. Because there are 10 parts. Part-wise reproducibility is checked here. But how many operators? There are 3 operators. Operator-wise reproducibility is checked here. And then the last diagram will help you to understand whether any specific part is creating trouble. Any specific appraiser is creating a trouble. Or whether any specific part appraiser combination is creating a trouble. This is what we call it interaction. And interaction will take it up in the ANOVA and DOE, right? So with that note, let us go one by one. The first diagram. And now looking at the diagram, there are 3 graphs, 3 colored bars coming. A blue color, a red color, and an yellow color. What is this blue color? The blue color works on the variance. See, variance, standard deviation are one and same. When I square the standard deviation, it is called what? Variance, right? But we learn everything in terms of standard deviation. The gauge R&R rule I told you is also based on standard deviation. So the blue bar is of no use to us as of now. The blue bar is of no use. Better consider only either the red or the yellow. And when to use red and when to use yellow. If you place the denominator either as customer tolerance or if you place the denominator as customer tolerance, then you can use yellow. If you don't place anything, suppose you do not know what is the tolerance, then only you must read the red bar. I think in my opinion, you should place the customer tolerance in the denominator and assess yourself. So what is the relevant bar for understanding the measurement system, the yellow is the relevant one. Yellow also works based on standard deviation only. What is this yellow? The percentage tolerance. It is called the percentage tolerance, which is calculated like this: study variation divided by USL minus LSL. Study variation means the measurement variation in the study data divided by USL minus LSL. And so I'm going to remove this and show you only the yellow, but Manytab will show everything. And now tell me, looking at the graph now, which is the major source of variation is, what is the major source of variation? In your part to part, right? And now gauge R and R. Gauge R and R is somewhere around 40%. You can understand your data are going to be, it's not credible. Your data is going to have an error more than 30%. So can you use the measurement system? Definitely no. If it is 10 to 30%, conditionally okay. Yes. Less than 10%, you will say your measurement system is capable. But here you understand it is not capable. You should not use it. Don't go for any data collection at all. If you go for the data collection, it is something like, driving the car without seeing the road. You will definitely met with an accident, right? So more than 30%, your data is not credible at all. And under such situation, either you change the measurement system completely or try to improve the measurement system. If the option is to improve the measurement system, then you can make use of the remaining 5 graphs. If you can completely change the measurement system, no need to read anything, you can go for a fresh one. Now gauge R and R is around 40%. And out of the gauge R and R 40%, which is contributing more, repeatability or reproducibility? Repeatability. So you take action in that direction because repeatability contributes more. So it gives a broader view, gives a visual clue, right? And now moving on to the second. R chart by operator. What is your understanding about R chart? We learned it, I think, yesterday, right? What is your understanding about R chart? What kind of variation R chart monitors?
Between the parts.
No.
Between the control limits.
You have to be very careful with the words.
Batch variation.
You have not understood control chart otherwise. Yesterday, we already discussed control chart. You produce biscuits, right? All the biscuits you produced today.
Between batch variation, sir.
I wanted that word. Within batch variation is monitored in R chart. Here, within appraiser variation is monitored. Simple difference. Within appraiser variation. What is within appraiser variance called? What is within appraiser variation? If I myself measure in a wrong way, different way every time you ask me to do, that is called repeatability. So it checks the repeatability of the appraiser. Now, appraiser 1, like appraiser 1, his repeatability you are seeing here. Appraiser 2, his repeatability you are seeing here. Appraiser 3, his repeatability you are seeing here, right? And then, yes, of course, it monitors the within appraiser variation. Now there are 3 appraiser. Appraiser 1, 2, and 3. Now tell me who is doing good?
3.
Okay.
Appraiser 3, sir. 2.
Appraiser 3. And who seem to be, the bad among the 3?
1.
So why do you say he is bad? Because most of his readings are far away from the center.
Center line, yes.
But in my opinion, the overall, I would say it is good because all of them are able to get maintain their variation within the control limit. So that way they are good. But within the 3, if I want to further perfect my measurement system, probably I will focus on appraiser number 1. Yes. You get my point? I will probably train him further, and then the repeatability component can come down. And same way the operator 2, while measuring part number 2 alone, he is experiencing some issue. I don't know why. Do you understand here?
Yeah.
Part number 2 alone, he is experiencing issue. And some of the time you see operator 2 at part number 1, his range is 0. His range is 0, 5. And see here, can you see 0? Can the range be 0?
No.
Yes, if it is true value.
Suppose if we produce all 3 readings exactly same, then only range is 0. It is an ideal situation, but ideal situation never happens, isn't it? But that is happening in your measurement system. That means they can be biased. Some clue I'm getting. You understand? Always staying around the center is the reality. Please understand. Though variation is not preferred, we cannot avoid variation, isn't it? So these are giving some clue, probably, if they know they are measuring the same part, what will happen? Instead of measuring 3 times, they will write the reading 3 times. Possible?
Yes. Bias.
So
Sir,
those
sir,
are,
if you compare the biasness of all these three pressure, so 3 has committed more. His frequency of committing biasness is more.
yeah. So with whether whether they tell us or not, we can still find out how are they working, isn't it? Can I get a yes?
Right,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Right, sir.
So that's how the tools are helping you. No. So around the center and then having an up and down pattern, I call it the random pattern, is what is preferred, is what is real. If the randomness is not following, then you can understand he is definitely biased. If all the points are outside the control limit or falling on the control limit or maintaining a zero range, these are all not random. These are all indication of bias. And also look at operator 2. Can you see the points going in a perfect straight line continuously?
Yeah, there is a pattern. Yeah.
There is a pattern. That means he seemed to be definitely biased. He
Yes.
understood that you are checking his way of measurement, and then he wanted to be safe and he's putting like this.
Just try to finish his work.
It is something like, suppose you imagine you are inside an ICU ward. In ICU ward, do you see a lot of graphs like this
Yes.
going up and down, isn't it? And going up and down means what? Pulse rate can move up high. It's quite normal.
People is alive.
Yeah, people is live. Suppose if the graph is appearing like a straight line, what is the inference?
Heart is not working.
Gone.
People has gone to
Chapter is
visit
finished. Isn't it? That means he is not live. He is not in the working mode. He is doing something. So this is how the patterns will help us to understand the bias, and then the non-random pattern whenever you see, or a specific pattern you see, that is also an indication of a special cause. You should rule out. Earlier, yesterday, we understood that point going outside the control limit is definitely a special cause. Now I'm telling you that even if you have all the points or inside the control limit, then also still special cause can play. Am I right now?
Yes.
Right? As a teacher, you must see to that.
Means for being idle, there must be some variation. Whether the level of variation is small or bigger, but
There must be variation, and that variation should be random variation.
Random
You should
variation.
not be able to comment on it.
Right.
If you are able to comment, if you are able to explain, then there is a factor, right? And see, earlier I told you that when you are a teacher teaching a set of students should be under your control, right? And control in the sense, first of all the students should sit inside your class. Making the students sit inside your class is getting the points inside the control limit. And now I have another doubt. What is the guarantee? Students are sitting in my class. Are they really listening to me? Or are they simply watch a TV on the other side?
They are physically there, maybe mentally outside.
Actually, they are not there. And that is what I am trying to understand by checking the randomness. If there is complete randomness, okay, things are going in a normal way. But things started moving in a non-random way, you can understand they are no more listening to you. They are enjoying a movie on the other side, right? So that's how it helps.
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, in the third operator case, can we come with the summary that person might have taken only 3 readings, 3 actual conditions. He might have repeated it 2 times, then given a 0 tolerance. Then again, he has taken 1 reading, repeated it again, then again given 3 tolerance, then the 3rd reading. So he was supposed to take 10 times. He has taken 3 times and given all the readings.
Your statement could be possible, yes. And that is why, you should not let them know that they are measuring the same part 3 times, because people are always over smart. When you want them to do the same work 3 times, they'll do it once and then, produce it, three times. So that could be the reason. And moreover, the exact 0 means it could have been that way only.
Sir, one doubt, sir. In operator 2, second operator, means it's coming straight line.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So can I guess that that measuring instrument, whatever he has used, means the list count is not relevant to for our process?
Yes.
Maybe list count is more.
Your point is correct and suspect is correct.
Yes,
Though I am
yes.
saying that it is appraiser. It doesn't mean the appraiser is the main culprit. It is the measurement system. That is why I said precision error or unsystematic. And whether he is biased or equipment is biased, I don't know. But there is a bias.
Yes, means the variation is not capturing by our measurement system.
Yes. No. Variation is captured. But that variation, is exhibiting a pattern here.
Yes,
Variation is there. If there is no variation, then, you will get all the points on the lower control limit. Variation is there. But
Yes.
it is, it is forming a pattern. It's giving me a straight line pattern. And definitely the measurement system is biased. That is a better word. But to help you understand, I'm telling that operator 2 is biased.
Yes.
Even sometimes equipment is, always giving the same reading. And the problem could be equipment. So you have to further investigate.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And now moving on to the next. X bar chart by operator. It checks the ability of the measurement system to differentiate parts. Now, always, I recommend to all of you, whenever you are conducting a measurement system analysis, you take at least 10 parts like this. Then only your NDC will improve. And how to choose the 10 parts? Do you know your specification limits? Upper specification limit and lower specification limit.
Yes.
If you have the habit of producing everything inside the specification limit, then you see to that you take 10 points or 10 parts all inside the specification limit. Clear? Suppose if you have the habit of, let's say you maintain a rejection of 10% and your quality checkers are working based on the specification limit. That means your company still have a long way towards quality. What company practicing Six Sigma and then who give importance to quality, they will check in terms of the control limit, not in terms of the specification limit. Am I right?
Yes.
So imagine a company checks based on the specification limit, and now you are taking 10 parts inside the specification limit. Suppose if your company, in spite of checking with respect to the specification limit, still maintains some rejections. Now you have to include the rejected parts also inside. Include samples from rejected parts also inside your measurement system study. Because we really want to understand whether our measurement system can discriminate the good parts and the bad parts. So you do that. So that is one clue I'm giving. Anyway, 10 parts are required. Now imagine you produce everything inside the spec. And so 10 parts you have selected covering the range. Out of the 10 parts, I'm telling you, you have about 4 parts outside the control limit. 4 parts outside the control limit. That means the entire range you have evenly selected. You know the target and 5 parts above the target and 5 parts below the target. And you also have some hint that 4 parts out of the 10 are going to be out of the control limit. That means 40% of the parts you mixed up are bad parts in your opinion. Am I right? Yes or no? If you select the parts in such a way, and then after getting all the reading, if you plot the X bar chart, whatever percentage of parts you mixed up as bad should come out of the control limit.
Yes.
Should come out of the control limit. If that is not happening, your system is not finding difficulty or not able to differentiate between good and bad. If it puts everything inside the control limit, then all the bad parts also considered as good parts.
And at the same time, we can say that the model means or the whatever the measurement system is not adequate.
Yes, okay, yes, you're right. It's called, it's not adequate. So you are not able to differentiate between good and bad. This is very important. So whatever is the percentage you are adding, because you are the person who is conducting the measurement system study, right? And you can decide. You put 50%, then 50% should come out. You put all bad parts, all should come out, isn't it? So you should not let all these informations known to your appraiser.
Sir.
Yes.
Should I call it placebo testing?
Okay. No, but it can be, you can call it, it may align with the other approaches, but here we call it only gauge R&R study.
Okay, sir.
All right. So you understood the X bar chart? Perfect.
Yes.
And now we move on. And now response.
Like sir, for our chart, you are saying that is between within batch variation, and this is between batch variation.
Between batch variation. Here we will call it between appraiser variation. Two things we are checking. Between appraiser variation also is getting checking. How? Can you see a pattern here with respect to operator 1? Can you see a similar pattern with respect to operator 2?
Three of them,
See a
sir.
similar pattern with operator 3. When I overlap the graph of operator 2 on operator 1, it should overlap.
Yes, sir.
That is why we have the fourth graph. Fourth graph dot plot is nothing but overlapping of this. We'll see that, right? And that is why I didn't talk about it, but you're right. X bar chart can help you to understand the variation between the appraiser. The variation between the appraiser is called what? Reproducibility, right? But we use the X bar chart only to understand the adequacy. And then we have another separate graph called fourth graph, response by part. Part number 1 measured by 3 operator. Each operator measured the part number 1 3 times. So how many readings came from part number 1?
9.
That 9 readings you are seeing here. Can you see? Am I right? There are 9 readings you are seeing.
Yes.
All the 9 readings are ideally, in ideal condition, all are same. You
Yes.
measured only same part 9 times. How it should look like? It should look like a pile of coins. You should see only one plot. You should see only one dot. But you are able to see all the 9 dots. That is showing the inconsistency. Your team is not able to reproduce the same value. All of them were given the same part. All of them were given the same equipment, same environment, same procedure. In spite of that, there is a reproducibility issue. Yes.
Sir, can you please repeat this first point?
This point, no. First point, see, there are 9 points, 9 readings came out of part number 1. That means part number 1 is only one single part. All 9 readings ideally should be one and same.
Right.
If your measurement system is perfect, 100% reproducibility, then all readings should be one and same. But you are seeing, a variation here. That is a reflection of inconsistency in measuring part number 1 by your measurement system. So this reflects the reproducibility issue with respect to part number 1. You can see the reproducibility issue with respect to part number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Sir,
and 9.
in this graph, the points are the individual points which was measured. We are not talking about X bar over here.
No, we are not talking X bar. X bar is indicated here. For all 9 reading, you can take the average. That average is blue color point. Average of the 9 reading is here.
So these
Right.
4 dots which are visible over here, these 4 dots.
You can't say this is 4. It represents 9. 9 parts.
Yeah, it
Some of them-
represents the
some
We
of
have
them like
measured
overlap.
a particular characteristics for that many time, and we have
Right.
put all those measurement at this place.
You're right. So it checks the part-wise reproducibility of the appraiser. Your system is more reproducible. Can you tell me where your system is more reproducible? Which particular part? Where is your system? More. No,
part number 7.
Very good.
Yeah.
Part number 6.
Part number 7.
Part number 6 as well as part number 7. Your system is
number
handling
6 and 7.
handling it with better reproducibility. So 6 and 7, the reproducibility is very good. Where the reproducibility is very bad?
Part number 10.
10.
Part number 10, isn't it? So you get an idea where to focus to control the reproducibility. Am I right?
Yes.
You get an idea. You can now look at the part number 10, why the people or team is struggling to measure it, and you can help them learn more with respect in that aspect. And here you can see the reproducibility is medium. And same way you can get an idea by looking into the dots for each of the part. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right.
All right. Now, box plot. Now the box plot will help you to check the overall reproducibility of the appraiser. Earlier, we went part by part. In fact, now it is operator wise. Operator 1, operator 2, operator 3. Because both way reproducibility can get affected. Am I right? Whether the part-wise reproducibility is a problem or operator-wise reproducibility is a problem. Now it is operator-wise. And now operator 1, how many readings he gave? 10 parts? Each part 3 times, totally 30 readings. And you are visualizing the 30 readings in the form of a box plot. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, nothing in the fourth quartile. Right? I think, it's very small. That's why it's not visible. And then here, operator 2, first quartile, the second quartile is here, third quartile is here, and then this is fourth quartile. Same way, there are 3 box plot available. And now this circle represents the average. Operator 1 gave you 30 reading. Take the average of the 30. Similarly, take the average of 30 reading given by operator 2. Average of the 30 reading given by operator 3. If all of them are aligning perfectly, though individual readings can differ, average can at least be same. Am I right? Average can at least be same if all of them are work in the same fashion. And now who is not aligning with the team? Operator 1 or 2 or 3?
2.
2 is not aligning. But you cannot say 2 is wrong. Maybe 2 alone is correct, other 2 are wrong.
Yeah, possible.
Very near to the alignment of both other two.
In order to comment, but definitely 2 is different from the team because 2 is different from the other 2. But whether 2 is correct or 1 and 3 are correct, if you want to understand, you must know about your 10 parts. Who selected the 10 parts? You selected the 10 parts, isn't it? So if you selected the 10 parts, exactly 5 above the target and 5 below the target, and if you space the points evenly, median will be equal to mean. Do you see that happening with the part number 2?
Yes, second operator.
That means who is correct?
Second operator.
Second operator.
Now, instead of advising operator 2, you advise operator 1 and 3. Got it? You can bring down the reproducibility. So you have to involve completely. Then only you will be able to comment. If you select in a random pattern, then you cannot make this comment. You cannot figure out how mean will be equal to median. Only when the data is exactly 2 off, 50% above and 50% below, and the 10 part should be evenly placed. If that happens, that's the time you will see your mean equal to median, and so you can make a conclusion. If you run out of that information, then you cannot comment like this. You can only say 2 is not aligning with that team. So now finally, operator part interaction. Interaction is something, a new concept, which we will discuss deeper in the ANOVA and DOE. And now ideally, see here, operator 1 is indicated in one color, maybe blue color. Operator 2 in red color. Operator 3 in green color. Part number 1, operator 1 gave 3 reading. Take the average of the 3. That is this point. Operator 2 also gave 3 reading. His average is red color point. Operator 3 gave 3 reading. His average is green color. Now, do you know the points? All the points are average of the 3 readings, right? And now average you are connecting. Average of 1 is connected to average of 2. This is the pattern followed by operator 1 while moving from 1 to 2. How operator 2 should maintain? He should also maintain the same rhythm, isn't it? Because both are measuring the same part. So he should also go up. Suppose if he is going down, he is creating trouble, isn't it? Because 2 is obviously a higher value. So he should place it above. And the lines required to follow the same pattern required to be parallel. Suppose if the lines are overlapping, beautiful. Do you understand? If all these things are not happening, that is an indication of a problem. And wherever you see the parallelness, that is good. For example, 9 to 10, somewhat parallel. Can I say 9 to 10 somewhat parallel?
Sir,
yes.
Sir, as we have gone through that analysis of interaction plot, somewhere I have read that if both the lines are parallel, then there is no interaction. And when there is an inclination, or towards each other,
you're right. You are correct.
Then there is suddenly a strong relationship, a strong correlation, medium correlation, and likewise.
That is true. That is fact. If the lines are intersecting, you can see intersection happening here from part number 8 to 9. So you can see the blue color line interacting with the green color line. So there is an interaction there from 8 and particularly while measuring the 8 and 9, your operator is struggling with part number 8 and 9. That's an interaction. You are measuring perfectly so far, but when it comes to part number 8 and 9, you are fine, you are struggling. isn't it? So that's an interaction. Anyway, I will give you better examples. That's why I said the interaction we will be dealing separately with the ANOVA and DOE. So what is the requirement here? All the points should, all the lines should have the same pattern. Do you remember this pattern was reflected in your X bar chart, isn't it? So it is overlapping of the X bar chart. I told you, right? You can overlap the part operator 2 with operator 1 as well as with operator 3. And that is what we are doing here. So whether any specific part or any specific appraiser or any specific combination is affecting your measurement, that is the question getting answered. Hope it is clear to all of you, right? And wherever interaction is there, then you have to be a little more careful and train them more, and so that all of them, if all of them work as a team, you will see the line overlapping or at least becoming parallel. So main objective of the measure phase is validating the measurement system. We have done that, right? We have even understood all the 6 graphs. And then basic statistics. Of course, basic statistics, hope all of you remember, we discussed on day 1 itself. It helps us to understand the central value as well as assess the variation. Without central value and without variation, you cannot come to any conclusion. Whatever is the work you are doing, there will be data, there will be central value, there will be variation, right? You have to master the central tendency, mean, median, and mode. You have to master the variation, the range, standard deviation, and variance. Then only you can be a master in your area, right? And thereby you will be able to better understand the difference between any number of groups, difference between 2 groups, difference between 100 group, difference between any number of group, you can better understand. And this is what I have done with all the 6 graphs so far, right? So MSA terminology, bias we discussed, linearity we discussed, stability we discussed, resolution, and then gauge R&R, right? Gauge R&R should be less than 10% of the interest zone. I purposely put it interest zone because interest zone can change from company to company, can change from your maturity level to, when you are highly matured, you will use process tolerance. In the initial stages, you can use customer tolerance. When you do not have any clue about the tolerance, then softwares like Minitab will automatically consider the steady variation as the tolerance, right? That's not the right way. All right. So this is the data we already discussed. And now there is, the value